2017 meeting of the Novi Library Board of Trustees. Trustee Verma, would you please do the roll call?
Thank you, Chairman. Trustee Melissa Augusta.
Here.
Trustee William Lawler.
Here.
Trustee Craig Mesner.
Here.
Trustee Tara Mesner.
Here.
Trustee Doreen Popper.
Here.
Trustee Jeff Wood.
Here.
Trustee Ramesh Verma. Present. Student representatives Ravina and Larry, they are not here.
They are not here tonight.
Okay.
They're absent excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome. They're getting ready to go back to school.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now, if everyone would please join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's start by taking a look at the agenda for this evening that you all have. Does anyone wish to comment on or make suggestions for modifications to the agenda?
Would it be possible to separate the consent agenda?
We will vote on that in two parts.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Very good. Okay, moving on to point number 5, we're going to take 5A first, which is the approval of claims and warrants L557. Any questions or comments regarding the claims and warrants? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Very good. Let's go to 5B, which is the approval of the regular meeting minutes from July 27th, 2017. Again, any corrections or changes anyone wishes to propose? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstained.
And an abstention.
Excuse me.
Okay, very good. We do not have any correspondence tonight, but we do have the pleasure of a very special guest tonight, a leader of the city of Novi and a good friend of the library. Julie, would you like to formally introduce our guest?
Absolutely. I'm excited and honored that we have Jeff Mock, who is the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, joining us this evening. He's here to share some of the information about the Lakeshore Park project that will be taking effect and happening this year in 2017-18. So Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and appreciate the invitation to come. It's been a really good relationship between the library and Novi Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, and so tonight I just wanted to give you an update on an even more exciting venture that we've all embarked on now in regards to Lakeshore Park. But I thought I'd start with a little history of how we got here, and then we can get into a little bit more detail of what we're actually doing. So Lakeshore Park, as you're aware, has not been updated in a long, long time. It's a park that had a lot of needs. And in 2014, the Parks, Recreation, Cultural Services contracted with an independent company to do a capital needs assessment of all of our parks. And Lakeshore Park really rose to the forefront of a park that needed a lot of work. We were turning away kids every day from our summer camp program. We can only take 60 kids a day in our existing camp building, which you see on the screen right there. And at times, we're turning away 60 kids.
They turned away Farkas kids. I just wanted
yes,
to
Julie can attest to that. So there's besides that building was built in approximately 1980, so it is old. It is out of space for our needs. As we continue to look at the park, we saw a need for additional pathways. There's no pathways in the park currently. We had gotten a lot of complaints and comments about the lack of paved parking in the park. Handicap accessibility was probably the #1 issue out there on top of the building, of being able to get people through the park. We looked at park shelter needing to be replaced. It has outlived its life expectancy. We have a playground that's outlived its life expectancy. So there's just been a lot of needs out at the park. And as we started to talk through this and go into looking to the voters for a capital improvement millage, some more things came to the forefront. Number one, a location to hold 2 voting precincts. We've had election issues and in the northern area in the precincts 11 and 12, and trying to find a suitable and stable place. Last November there were some election issues at one of those precincts due to the overwhelming size of the turnout and the lack of space in the school that we use. So our city clerk was at the forefront of asking us to look at, when we build this building, can we look at it as serving as a voting center also? And that's also then when Julie came forward and said, hey, can we get the library involved? And I said, of course, we definitely want to get the library involved. We want to serve all the needs of the residents up in the northern area, and you wanted a library presence. And so we just started talking about carving out a niche for the library, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So our capital needs assessment came up with this plan that's on the screen right now. And this is really what we started a base at, about 4,800 square foot, maybe putting in a different entryway. But as that evolved and we got community input, we got council input, Parks Commission, citizen input, the plan really started evolving. You know, we needed a little bit a bigger building than 4,800 square feet to accommodate all those other needs. We started looking at how the road went through the park. That was one of the main issues that we have with the existing park, and I'm going to skip over to the overlay right now. So you can see the existing park. You have a road that literally bisects the park. That wasn't good when you're looking at park planning for moving people through the park, for the safety of residents who are using the park, for kids in the park. We have kids crossing right now driveways and roads to get to parking lots, and it's just not the greatest environment. So we settled back on this conceptual design, and we've been working forward towards this. Some of the highlights of this, as you can see, all the white pathways are all sidewalks. So we have delineated a pathway that actually leads from South Lake Drive all the way back to the mountain bike trails, so kids and families don't have to be on roads at all. As you can see, as you kind of follow the pathways through the park, you see you can move from pavilions and the shelters and the playgrounds without even going near the roads. You can stay on those pathways, go up to the building. Plenty of parking to accommodate voting, plenty of parking to accommodate our programs up there, because our focus is going to be on parks and recreation programs. We're going to be running senior citizen programs, fitness classes, the camp programs, nature programs, everything along that line. Council has asked us to not rent this building out to private events and groups, but we would allow our nonprofits, our scouts, our homeowners associations. If you want to have a board meeting up there, you could probably work that out too at some point. So, so we've gone that route. A lot of debate on this design. It's been going on for a while. We've had people who don't want anything to be done to that park. You know, they want it, don't touch it, leave it alone. But then we also have people who said, that's not a big enough building. You know, you should go bigger and better, and we should have a splash pad at the park, and we should have a pickleball court, and, you know, I mean, we have people who said we should put in the entrance off of Dixon and 12.5 Mile and basically tunnel all the way through the mountain bike trails and all the way to the front of the park. We had people who wanted us to put the building in the back of the park at the soccer, where basically we have a soccer field. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense either when you're looking at park design, because then you have to build a second building anyways at the front of the park to service the beach. You're tearing up even more green space to put in 2 parking lots, not to mention the cost of running electrical and utilities and everything like that. So we've really tried to find this common ground from don't do anything to do everything, and this is the plan that we've focused down on, and we think that it's a solid plan. We've taken it, it's been presented to council, it's been presented to, last night actually I was here for Planning Commission, and so we had preliminary site approval last night at Planning Commission. So our intent is to keep moving forward on this, and we think it's going to be a real benefit for the public all across Novi, not just for North End, but for everybody who goes up to Lakeshore Park. As far as the building is designed, it's really meant, again, programmatically what we can do. So we have the larger multi-purpose room is our camp building. That's been built so that we can take up to 100 kids in summer camp. And then there's also the smaller breakout rooms that we can use for smaller programming. Or you imagine on like a real rainy day when the kids can't be outside when it's thunderstorming, you can break them off into separate, arts and crafts areas or a quiet reading area, or the library, I know, and move them around. Or if, let's say, we were having a fitness class or like senior card games or something like that, you have those other rooms as well. Some of the other highlights of the building that I wanted to just touch on real briefly is that there are indoor and outdoor bathrooms. We didn't want to mix the beachgoers tracking their sand and everything on their feet into a brand new building or a nice building. So you have outdoor bathrooms as well as the indoor bathrooms. So we really plan that out. And the outdoor bathrooms obviously stay open during normal park hours, but we can separate off the indoor ones. So we've really tried to think this through, think out all the scenarios. The facade of the building, we also wanted to really take a look at that. A lot of the feedback we got back was, no, we don't want 2 stories. The neighborhood didn't want 2 stories. The neighborhood, was really clear. Residents said that they want, it has to look more residential. Our designers really tried to capture the look and feel of state parks or national parks, if many of you have been to those and seen those type of park buildings, so they built off of that kind of look. When we first put out the CIP info, there was some renderings that were very modern, 2-story looking building. That wasn't well received, so we've gone back to this. And then the color schemes and the facade is more in line with what we've done at Pavilion Shore. If you've driven by Pavilion Shore and seen the wonderful pavilion we have there with the curved roof that harkens back to the old casino and dance hall days, trying to tie this building in with that as well. We've already built one new pavilion in Lakeshore Park, and that has gone with the same color scheme and the look and feel too. So we're really trying to blend Lakeshore and Pavilion Shore together. So as far as where you come in, and I'll let Julie jump in at any time, but we are more than happy. We've carved out room in the area for you to use. And we can also talk about programming down the line as well, and all sorts of, so really the possibilities are wide open. But Julie, if you want to talk about what you have planned.
So I know that, we as a board and myself have had a wonderful budget conversation back in January and February where we decided to put some money aside to purchase a lending library kiosk that will actually go in the lobby area of this new building at Lakeshore Park. I'm very excited because it gives us the opportunity to be bringing materials, upwards of about 500 items into the kiosk to be available to the community members that are up in our north end. It allows us for new card holders, hopefully getting new users of the library, but also making it convenient, because we know that a library is of convenience. We tend to have more users that are closer to the library building itself, and by giving them a small satellite, then that gives them an opportunity to connect with the library. Since we know that 96 does cut off north and south and does separate us a little bit from our north end residents in Novi. I'm excited because Jeff mentioned another thing that I do see as an opportunity for us, and that's maybe some programming space once in a while where we can bring some entertainment and story times and programming up into the north end as well, and then again be connecting with families and older adults, teenagers as well with the Walled Lake Schools, in that beautiful facility as well. So I guess my one question, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Jeff, but it might be one that the board might want to ask, is just at this point, and I know you don't know for sure, but do you have a rough timeline that you're thinking of at this point?
So we, as I said just a minute ago, is we did get preliminary site plan approval by Planning Commission last night. So that moves us now into doing the final site plans, and then we'll move forward towards bids, council final approval, and we still ultimately would like to get some shovels in the ground later this fall, if not early winter. There's existing structures that are going to be coming down out there, the existing pavilion, large pavilion, the garage, and some other things out there that hopefully we can get a jump on later this year. Our contractors, we don't have a contractor picked yet, but our team is kind of ballparking 8 to 9 months of construction. So as far as, we're looking at it from a park standpoint, we want that open next summer. We've got summer camp that we want to roll out there, and our mountain bike association wants access to the trails and everything. But, we may have a good portion of that park closed down for a good 8 to 9 months, so.
Jeff, you mentioned the voters. Is the funding already approved for this, and if so, how much?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question. So when the capital improvement millage went out, this project was targeted at $3 million, but it was $3 million was for the building alone. And when the millage got approved, we started looking at, when we met with our capital improvement committee and with council, they really strongly wanted us to start bundling projects together. So they didn't want us piecemealing projects, especially within the same park. So that we're now at 5.1 million, and that includes all the parking, the pavilions, the shelters, the pathways, everything together is at about 5.1 million.
First off, I really like this concept.
Thanks.
I think you guys have done a great job, really, the planning and everything. What are you envisioning with this building as far as the utilization through the year and the hours? I mean, is this a 12-month out of the year building? And if so, what are the winter hours of this?
Sure, so that's actually a highlight. I'm glad you asked that, because it is now it will be a 12-month out of the year building. Right now, we don't have that capability with the way the building's set up. So we are going to operate 12 months out of the year. That allows us to do things such as winter camps, winter break camps, potentially some outdoor things that we haven't done in the past, like snowshoeing and other things like that. Hours are going to mainly be program driven, because it's not a rental facility. We will do our programming. I foresee a lot of our programming falling in that 7, 8 a.m. time to noon, and then on the back end more of like that 5 to 9-ish time. Obviously, we want to fill it the entire time that the park is open, which is dawn to dusk, but until we really get into programming, we're going to target those hours. During the summer, we'll obviously be open 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. every single day, because that's the hours of our camp, but I can see it going even later.
So in the wintertime, that lobby area, is that open for people to come in?
We will have that lobby open whenever we have programmable hours.
So only
yes.
programmable hours
Yep.
that will
Yep.
be open.
And we'll have those clearly posted. Definitely feed that to you as to when those
Okay.
hours will be.
And will that be manned? Will there be somebody in
Yes, absolutely. Whenever the building is open, we will have a staff person in there. Yep.
So that actually puts in a little more security for us in terms of the kiosk.
Yeah.
And I don't see any issue with the hours, going based on programming. I think it's up to us to just know that we market and promote what those hours will be. Similar to our building only being open so many hours of the day, but
But it sounds like it'll be more limited access in the wintertime, right?
I think so.
So,
yeah.
I mean, as far as what we're trying to accomplish, we won't get the full effect 12
Right.
months out of the year.
Right.
That's kind of where I was asking my question.
Yeah, our team is already planning those. They've actually started blocking off schedule blocks of what can and could go in there, and then they'll start blocking off senior fitness classes, youth classes, or card games, whatever it might be. So, again, our intent is to use this thing every hour of the day that we can.
One last question.
Sure.
What's the logic behind not renting it out?
So there was a lot of debate about that. It started out, there was a lot of, I would say, misinformation started when this was first floated out that this was going to be a banquet center. A lot of residents, just especially in the northern end of Novi, did not want it to be weddings and parties and a lot of stuff in a neighborhood. And we told them we weren't going to be doing those kind of things. We were going to design a building even that wouldn't accommodate that. It still kind of kept gaining steam, but council then said, nope, we agree with the residents, we're not going to rent the building out. So they heard the residents and said, we're not going to do that.
But we do rent the pavilion out, don't we?
The pavilions will still be rented, yep, yep.
right.
Yep.
So the same parties,
Yeah.
right?
Right. I'm just looking at, if you have more utilization of that facility, especially in the wintertime. I can understand in the summertime, you want to keep that for people to use. But in the wintertime, when there's a lot of downtime, I guess I don't buy that argument.
Right.
And again, I'm looking at it maybe selfishly from our perspective of being able to have the more hours where people have access to that that vending.
I will say though, in the winter, as when our fitness classes are most popular, and we're really one of the reasons that we wanted this building was because we've literally run out of space here at the Civic Center. You've probably been in here on a weeknight or during the winter, and we've got karate going and theater classes and everything like that, and so we've ran out of space, and so we actively need this additional space and can program it. And the nice thing about it too is then it's at our control. When we rent facilities in the schools for those kind of programs, we're completely at their mercy as far as after-school programming or nighttime events or PTO. Here, we know it's dedicated, we can schedule it, so.
That's good.
I'm assuming maybe it's not true, you're gonna move functions that have taken place here up there?
Some might, but I think we're really gonna be looking at the newer programs. I wouldn't say we're gonna just pick up like our senior cards, euchre and bridge and everything that's set here and is a popular program, but we could look at expanding something else up there. We're not gonna force them to move up there by any means.
The follow-up question was, do you anticipate a negative reaction to moving things from here to there?
Right. No, I don't foresee that. I think it's a whole new program. It's a whole new base. You know, I think we'll get some people from Walled Lake, just like you're anticipating more card holders being added.
To me, it sounds like a lot more growth is what we're
Right.
hoping.
Right.
Well, I think that's great for Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, where they're gonna be close to nature. They can go do their outdoor activities, then come back inside and have some hot chocolate or whatever, you know? So, I mean, right there, it's gonna be amazing.
We've got some large events that are very traditional up there. For instance, the Motor City Mountain Bike Association does their tree farm relay every year, and so they're excited about being able to use this building as basically their base instead of a pavilion for that event. There's the Flirt with Dirt run. They'll be excited about using that as well.
And I was just going to say, although there won't be the rentals for like banquets or weddings, for your typical city events, you probably will be able to allow parties that may happen here sometimes be able to be used there?
Well, the council has said no private rentals.
Not private,
but
no, city-based.
City-based, yep. So like, let's say if we wanted to do a north end daddy-daughter dance.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we already sell out daddy-daughter dance here.
Right.
We may try doing daddy-daughter dance or mother-son or something like that up there.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Again, that 96 barrier and
Yes.
trying to
Sure.
get people active.
No budget,
Yep.
literally.
You said it was handicap accessible, and yet I look at this picture with these steps going up to the entrance.
Let's see if are you talking about this picture?
Yes,
So, let me see if I can get a better
I'm sure it's going to be
idea.
handicap accessible, but it doesn't show.
So if you see the path that bisects the driveway, or the parking lot, that leads right into the front door of the building.
Okay.
So that's your handicap accessibility. And then also off of the beach, we had to deal with the slope of the topography there, and so the beach is also accessible up that pathway, because the bathrooms are on the side facing the lake for the beachgoers. So you have multiple points of handicap accessibility into the building.
And I just think sidewalks will be a huge,
Absolutely. I talked to a mom, or two moms actually, out at Lakeshore a few weeks ago, and they had a couple of kids on bikes in tow, and when they heard about this, they were amazed, because they don't necessarily like riding through the park. They actually don't go on the road, they cut across the grass to get off of South Lake and back to the trail, so they were ecstatic because they feel it'll be a much safer opportunity. And I think somebody mentioned reading programs. If you notice, there is that small patio off of the west side of the building. That's going to be, that serves a couple of different functions. It's an outdoor meeting area for our camp kids to gather, almost like a little amphitheater. And I could just definitely see us doing reading programs and those kind of activities in that space as well. So again, wrap up. I know you have a lot more business to do tonight. We're really excited. We're glad to have you as a partner. I can see a lot more good things coming, and glad that you like the design and appreciate the feedback you gave.
well, just want to thank you for your diligent, persistent, patient, yet pushy approach to all of this to finally get done what needed to get done.
Thank you.
It seems like value add.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Our staff is very excited. So
Thank
Great.
you so
Thank
much,
you.
Jeff.
Have a good
Thanks
night.
for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
That was good.
Yes.
We have come to the first of two public comment opportunities. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session, therefore, library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Seeing no one coming forward to the podium, we will move on to the student representative report.
So the ladies aren't here this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions. As you can see on pages 22 and 23, they had some amazing programs through the summer because this was part of summer reading. Very good attendance as well, and they're looking forward to some great programs in September. In fact, I'll be happy to mention some of those. Chocolate milkshakes for all on September 12th, since they're back to school. I think they're finding a way to entice the teenagers back and connecting with them. Then an SAT practice test, September 16th, which we all know is on the minds of our juniors and seniors. Eats and Treats Teen Cooking Club, they're making Rice Krispies on September 18th. Teen Advisory Board, I do believe this is their first meeting of the season. That'll be September 22nd. Pizza and Pages Book Club on September 27th, and an ACT practice test on September 30th. So they're getting right into the swing of things with school-related testing, but also some fun and food as well. Some of the photos that are highlighted on page 23, there's the teens working hard to make fleece blankets for the Michigan Humane Society. The photo below that is attendees working together to complete the STEAM challenges that they had. And then on page 24 is attendees tasted different foods, coming to the conclusion that there are some store brand snacks that are better than the name brand. So how about that? Yeah.
Save their parents some money.
Exactly. And that's all I have. I'm happy to answer anything if I can.
We seemed, every time we meet, I think everybody up here feels very, very positive about what they're doing
Yes.
and their programs, what they have planned. Do you have any feel for how this compares to what is going on at other libraries?
They are exceeding my expectations, to be quite honest. The teen population is a very difficult population to be connecting with, and I'm very appreciative of our two representatives because they are working very hard to make connections. I think the teen stop, or space, I should say, makes a great connection in itself, so it's a nice blend and pairing when they bring programming, and then it also happens at the same time that the teen space. But honestly, I do believe they are doing a lot of programming. I think that there are libraries, I know there are libraries that struggle with this particular age group to get them in, and they've done a wonderful job of not only having not only listening to the teens and what they want to do, but then also looking at service project things that tie into school, and then also keeping some education base as well. So they're really staying, pretty varied in what they provide for the kids as well. So it's been very positive.
One of the things that was a nice surprise to me was that going back 4 or 5 years, when we lost the people who had been doing such a great job,
Sure.
I thought, wow, are we going to have trouble keeping the momentum going? And it's just kept going really well.
Absolutely. I felt the same way, actually, Trustee Mesernak. When you have leadership like that, sometimes you worry, but these young ladies have truly, I think they're taking their positions very seriously,
Yeah.
and they do want to connect the kids with them and with the library. I think they do have their own special mission of doing that.
Awesome. One thing that stands out to me is that they do work very hard, just echoing what you said. If there's ever a way that we as a board can support them better,
Sure.
By way of connection, resources, whatever, I'd love to know that. So if you can maybe pose that question to them.
Absolutely.
So I remember my first term thinking that we would probably work a little closer together. But they're very independent, which is awesome, so that's
Right.
not a bad thing.
Right.
I just want to make sure that if they want more connection, that's something that they're able to get.
If I can make a suggestion, and
Yeah.
I do realize that all of you are very busy, it might be worth your time, if you can, to attend that September 22nd Teen Advisory Board meeting. Because not only would I be sharing, that you're interested, but by you being there,
It shows.
it does. And so if you'd like me to follow up with the time, because I know that wasn't mentioned there, I'll be happy to just give you a heads up. I know it's on a Friday, but I'll be happy to do that for you. It's September 22nd.
And if it's possible, like, if we can't make this one, or,
Do one in the future.
right, do they do their board meetings every month? I'm trying to remember.
They do.
So,
And I do believe they're around, I don't want to for sure, but for some reason, 4 o'clock is sitting in my mind. It's around that time frame, just after school.
so a thought is it okay if there's an open invitation for
Oh,
board
I think
members
so.
to come to, like, so if we
Yes.
can't make September, maybe we can make October, et cetera?
And I'll let the ladies know that you will definitely be
Awesome.
dropping in. There might be an opportunity for that.
That's
Sure.
perfect, thank you.
I have to say, I saw the video playing the Pac-Man game, and it was so much fun. And I think that's what's nice, is they found food, fun, learning, all very well-rounded. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Moving on, point 10, I think we will not have anything under that.
We don't,
because
correct.
we do the goals every quarter,
Right.
and this is the first month of the quarter.
Yes, yes,
So
thank you.
moving on to the treasurer's report.
This was a very easy one. We have 1 month. Okay, so we will start out on starts on 26 and ends on 28, and we're actually going to be looking at the peachy orange column, correct?
Yes.
The approved column for 2017-18 approved. The approved budget for Fund 268 fiscal year 2017-18 calls for revenue of $2,901,020 and expenditures of $3,090,996, consuming $189,976 of the fund balance. And I took those numbers, if you look on page 20, where am I at? 26 to 28. The revenue and expenditure report for fiscal year 2017-18 for Fund 268 starts on page 30, and it goes all the way through page 33. And if you want to follow along, if you look on the bottom of page 33, looking at the third column from the end, revenue year-to-date, ending July 31st, 2017, is $124,377.89. Total expenditures year-to-date is $169,502.80. So that's just 1 month's worth of expenditures and revenue.
And we haven't shown any of our property tax yet.
Yes, we haven't
Dumped in.
received any of our the revenue yet.
But I do want to make note that if you look, the state penal fine check was received, and we're just a little bit less than last year. So 16-17 was 117,000 and some
What
change.
page, Julie?
We're on
Page
page
30?
30, I'm sorry. Page 30, so our 16-17, a check that was received by the state was 117,000, and our check that was received for 17-18 is 112, so just a little less than. And that's, we've talked about that in the past. That's what I call the speed to read. That's if you're on our state highways and you are pulled over by a state trooper, there is a portion of that ticket, if you are fined and receive points for a speeding ticket, a portion of that goes back to Michigan libraries, and in Oakland County, depending on how much comes in from that, it's then separated by different libraries that are in Oakland County, and then we get a portion of it. So I truly appreciate that amount of money coming from our state and from our state troopers.
Do you want me to do the proposed budget for Fund 269?
Sure.
Okay.
It's been approved.
Oh, okay, it
Yes,
just still
we're
says
good.
proposed, I wasn't
Oh,
sure.
I apologize, I need to.
That's okay, on page 29, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Does
so
it say proposed?
2017-18, last column, right?
Yes, you know what, that needs to be approved. I
Okay, I
apologize.
wasn't sure,
I will make
so-
that notation, thank you.
Okay, so on page 29, we're going back a couple pages. Fund 269, approved budget calls for revenue of $48,500 and expenditures of $118,465. We will be using $69,965 of the fund balance. Okay. Balance sheet shown on page 35. Balance sheet for Fund 268 268 shows our fund balance at the end of July is $1,795,042. And on page 36, the fund balance for Fund 269 at the end of July is $1,696,634. I have one more little thing I was going to talk about for fiscal year end, but does anyone have any questions about our first month? So I kind of thought it'd be something nice to look at, but on page 35, if you look at the balance sheet, it's broken down that the beginning of the fund balance at the beginning of 2016-17 was $1,755,110,014. We're right now, and remember, we still have more expenditures coming in, but it's showing that we have a positive of revenue of $85,000 that we added to the fund balance. So really, at the end of our fiscal year 16-17, we ended up with, $85,000 more. So we ended up with $1,840,167. So we are still in the positive, where we've been projecting 269,000, I have that number stuck in my brain, of usage. So, and remember, there still will be more expenditures, but right now we're with additional.
I can let you know that all expenditures had to be finished up as of August 14th.
Sure.
So you'll see a couple that might reflect it next month, but for the most part, we should be pretty good with it. They always put an asterisk of "you're not closed," and that's because
Sure.
until it audits, which actually happens in October-ish, they won't remove that asterisk until then. But I'm very pleased with how things turned out this year.
I had a question about, under services and charges, item 922, electricity,
What page?
page 28. The 2016-17 year end was 102,000, and the projected amount for 2017-18 was 99,000.
Well, we're hoping.
Is that because of our LED conversion that we're hoping to achieve some savings in that?
That is what I'm hoping. I did factor in a little bit of savings. Now, I know that we had talked about at budget time that this project would be hopefully started and done for the fall. So we would have definitely benefited more. It's looking, and Trustee Lawler, I know you weren't able to make our LED meeting a few weeks back, but it is looking like the project probably won't actually get installed until probably January or February of 2018. It's still in this fiscal that we're working out of, but it is being delayed because of some other work that has to be done prior. So, yes, I think we hoped for some savings, and we probably won't see that right off the bat. So we'll definitely see that line probably be a little higher than what we had budgeted. Yes. Great question.
And that's my report.
Any questions for our treasurer?
Well done.
Thank you.
Very good. Moving on to the director's report.
Okay, so lots of great things have happened. There's lots of information here. First off, page 37, I just wanted to give you an overview of what our staff in service day looked like. That was last Friday. Huge thank you to first Marshall Johnson, who is our new emergency manager, and Jared Hart, who is assistant chief, and our fire marshal, Kevin Pierce, because between the three of them, they helped us go through some drills at the library. We had an active shooter drill, we had a fire drill, a tornado drill, and took about an hour and a half with the staff to not only go through the drill, but then also have good conversation following as to how we can tweak the current procedures that we have and written documentation that we have. It's always good to go through the exercises and see where there might be changes to what we're doing, get feedback from those three gentlemen and how they saw things when we did the actual drills. The active shooter drill, I have to tell you, is always, to me, it's unnerving. That's really the best way to describe it, because it is scary. I mean, it's not something 20 years ago when I was going to library school would I ever think I would be doing or bringing to my staff, but it is definitely worth it for us to have some idea, with us being a public building, you know, to get our staff mindsets at something like this. They did a fantastic job. I'm sure you saw all the notifications that went out. We needed to let the community know a little bit about us doing that type of training. There was signage, and we were closed for that. I think the staff appreciates going through those drills because it does allow them, you know, to just have a good sense of what could unfortunately happen, but it also allows them to see it if they're in a mall or in another public place, you know, that they have a little bit of that background and a little bit of that training. It was done very positively, and I received very positive responses back from our emergency manager for doing this. He has some surveys that are actually sitting on my desk that I want to read before I turn them over to him, which I will do, and then we will look at our procedures to see what else we can tweak. There are a few things from this that we learned that we might make some tweaks to the building on. And then our fire drill, everyone was out of the building in less than 1 minute, which was amazing. Now, we didn't have public, because that definitely can play a part in it, but it was very good, again, for our staff to go through that. And we've tweaked that process as well. We have a couple vests now that get worn so that people are identified as people that the fire department knows to connect with. We've added walkie-talkies to the building so that we can have conversations with people who might be on different ends of the library when they're exiting out of the building. So we've added those over the years, those different processes, and then keep tweaking them and keep practicing them. I also want to put a shout out to our CERT team. We had about 14 CERT members that came that day. These are our community emergency response team residents who from the community took part, and they played patrons when we did the active shooter incident and drill at the library, and they were great. You know, they showed concern and acted as patrons that needed help, and then that allowed the staff then to interact with them in a way of getting them out of the building. So I recommend us doing this every couple of years. We've had a lot of turnover and new staff in the last couple of years too, so I know a lot of our new staff was appreciative also of having the drill.
I was surprised you didn't have anything on bomb threats. I mean, public schools, that's one of our major issues. People call in with a bomb threat and it's not real, but you have to treat it as real. Right. So I was surprised.
No, actually, that's actually a great question, because it is something that was brought up and something that we will be addressing.
Good.
Now that we've now that we've realized it. Mm-hmm. So what that allowed us also was an emergency manual that had been created by one of our staff from facilities. And we now have an emergency manual available to the staff and at different desks, and allows us to look through those processes and keep refreshing us and reminding us of what we need to be aware of. So that was a great part. That was the morning. That was definitely intense and very serious. The afternoon definitely was lighter, but very much a learning opportunity. We had a wonderful group. Mary Ann Zermulin, Catherine Boss, Lindsay Fricky, Keith Perfect, Julie Prottengeyer, Christina Salvatore, and David Silberman were on the team that created the day, and a lot of it was done in video. So what they had done over the last few months was video different departments and what their purpose is. And the videos were shown throughout the day to the entire staff of, you know, what it is that we do in our departments. Because not everyone necessarily knows what's going on somewhere else. They come in and they might be so focused on their job and their department that, you know, they don't understand all the ins and outs of the other departments that are going on. So each department was represented by a video, and then there was also a video made of the day in the life of a book, and how the book coming in, you know, in a box from delivery from our actual book distributor, and then how it gets labeled and where it goes, and the process it takes to being in the public eye, and then from there. So I plan to show you some of those. Unfortunately, you can't use them in the public because they're not copyrighted, and we did use some music and things that we use for in-house purposes. But our book video I will definitely plan to share with you. But this group did an amazing job planning this day, and after the morning being so serious, it was nice to do some team building exercises. We played Jeopardy, and my team won. I know they told me I couldn't play anymore because I knew too much about everything. So I think I'm next for next time. But that made me feel good that I knew so much about it, and I know about other departments. So I was happy to hear. Sometimes they probably wonder, does she listen to everything I tell her? And I really do try to listen to everything they tell me. So, but we played Jeopardy, and there was a lot of question and answer for that, and people were learning from that game as well, and everyone participated. So it really was a wonderful day, and I want to thank the board for giving us that day. You give us that day off, to close so that we can work together as a whole team and connect, and it is the only day that we get to do that. So I do thank all of you for giving us that day each year in order to learn and to grow.
Sounds like you took good advantage of it.
We did, absolutely. So following that, Trustee Augusta, I know you had a question last month, which I did put in for you. You had asked about the $18,000 and what happened to it in the 269 account. Your explanation is there. It was like a holder, a placeholder for the lending library when we were first having our initial conversations, and then when we knew that it wasn't going to take place in 16-7, it was moved, and then we got better numbers for 17-18. Page 38, I'm so excited because if you can see this photo of Liba Goal at the amazing age of 97, Lee has been off the library's radar. And he let his library card lapse. And he didn't even have his name in our system anymore. And here is a photo of Lee coming in and getting his new green card activated, which I hope all of the homes that are getting this green card are coming in. We've had very good success. We are seeing cards coming in daily, being activated, and people connecting with the library. So I'm excited to give you some more information about this at the end of September, probably our October meeting, of how that all finished. We did, on the bottom of page 38, Christina Salvatore, she's done some amazing work with the library, and there is an actual award called Marketer of the Year that we went ahead and put a nomination in for her. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. We haven't heard anything yet. I think she's the best. And hopefully the American Library Association and Library Journal will think the same, and we'll keep you posted on that. Here is some information on the LED lighting project. So this is an actual email from Peter Basso's company giving them where they are with things and what they're planning to do. We know that we're actually, right now, we were told that probably in early September we would see some examples of lighting that we could actually use and put in the library in different areas to test it, to see if that type of LED lighting would work well in the building. So that's where we are at this time. We haven't seen any of the examples yet. As soon as they get in, though, I'll make sure that the building committee is invited in to take a good tour of the areas so that we can start assessing, what we're going to be doing.
I'm just so happy that we went with someone to really look into this, because I'm sure you have found out it's much more complicated with tiny details than you ever could have done.
It was
on our
way
own.
beyond my expertise,
Yes,
I'm going to
it's
tell
for
you right
sure.
now. So
I
yes,
think we all have learned a great deal.
yes.
Or at least learned what we didn't know.
Yes, and I do
Very
truly
complex.
appreciate your time and the willingness. I know that we had hoped this project really was going to get done.
Better be done right.
Correct, and that's, I think we all are on the same page with that as well. So more to come on that. We are still moving forward. We're going to talk about some calendar recommendations, and that'll come up in matters for board action. We'll talk about that as I move forward onto page 43. Actually, not on page 43. On page 45, you'll see a flyer for the Community Reads that was just launched in August. So for the next about 12 weeks, we are, as 6 libraries, we're promoting the book Underground Airlines. And I'm happy to tell you that our first 50 copies at the Novi Library checked out successfully, and we had another 11 that we ordered that we put on the shelves. So these books are going like hotcakes. I think it's a great title and topic for what's going on these days. And there's programming that's wrapped around it and book discussions that will lead up to the author being at the library, and it will be at Novi Library on Friday. We're doing a Friday night this year, doing something a little different with a Friday night presentation at 7 o'clock. And then following, there will be a wine afterglow for about an hour.
Which
So
date is that?
that is November 10th, Friday, November 10th at 7 o'clock. So I hope that you will turn out to hear the author speak about the book and then join us for some wine. This is definitely a 21 and older this year event. We've had students in the past, but one of the ways that we got around that was the author will be stopping at the high school this year to give a presentation to the school on that Friday morning. So
Julie, who else
Yes.
besides libraries are involved with this community reads?
it is just libraries. In terms of helping out and supporting, the Hotel Baronet gives us the free rooms for the author to stay in. And then, of course, our Friends of the Libraries, which is the arms of all of our libraries. But this is solely a library program project.
So community reads does not involve other agencies within the communities to promote this or to be involved?
It does.
When Ann Arbor had its first community read, it was widespread throughout the community. It was a phenomenal experience. And so it's such a great opportunity to open the conversation across the community in ways of workplaces, for example. So is there any way if a community or a group wanted to connect with you?
Oh, they
in
can,
some way?
and they can be sending people to be involved in it, absolutely. Have them reach out to me if you have anyone, yes.
Is this author local?
No, this author actually will be flying in. So this is all 6 libraries putting money in to support this event. This is about a $5,000 endeavor, because with them and travel and the author coming in. But we've always wanted to make it a big author or someone with some notoriety around it, and we're excited about this book.
When did this book come out?
I believe it was 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just a couple years. Actually, it might have been 2015, because it's just been put into paperback, and it typically takes about a year for the book to go into.
2016.
Is it 16? Okay. Yeah, because it just went into paperback, and it's usually a year, so it's fairly new. And this was a recommendation, we work with a company that, based on what the community libraries, what they want to do, what their focus is. So we were looking for something, not necessarily political, but we were looking for something that might bring an opportunity for some good community conversations.
Is it
And,
available on Kindle or other readers?
yes, it is. Yes.
Will that be available here?
They are. They're already purchased and available through the library.
Good, thank you.
And then following is the Oakland, if you're looking on page 46, 47, and 48, there's a little bit there at the top. That is Oakland County's Health Division has come in, and they've done an inspection of the cafe. There were just some very, very minor things that were noted on page 47 that were addressed right away and fixed when they were in speaking with the cafe owner. Following that, page 48 has Barb Rakowski's report. I do want to highlight one thing in particular on page 49. If you see those 3 photos at the bottom, one with a very cute little girl, and her hand is a plastic prosthetic hand. We are working, here's some amazing STEM work that's happening with the Novi High School. We're in the early stages of this, but the Novi High School and their Frog Force robotics team approached the library to get involved with them and a nonprofit called Enable. And this is using our 3D printers to make prosthetic hands for children overseas. And this started with the students, so we're supporting the students in doing this. What's happened from there is the students want to reach out to younger children in our community and in our elementary schools. So a couple years ago, the media centers all got 3D printers, and we now have these students working with some 4th grade classrooms. This fall it'll start, where these hands will actually get designed and produced in the 4th grade class and then assembled by the 4th graders. Wow. So I know, I honestly get goosebumps, because this is way beyond what I ever thought, we'd be doing and connecting with our school district, but it's just so amazing. So what the library will do is we're going to serve as an Enable chapter, so that we can have a chapter for this organization. but we will also do a community assembly day where we can get other people from the community if they want to assemble, and it's not very difficult, the students have told us, to assemble a hand so that it can be completed and then shipped overseas through Enable to children that need this hand. So it'll be different sizes, it'll be right and left hands. There's a number of files and it's driven by two specific high school students at Novi High and their Frog Force robotics team. So they brought us the idea, we're coming on with the community part of it. I want to let the board know, we did receive a generous donation that was anonymous, and I am using some of that money to go towards materials for the 3D hands and for the printing of this. It was a great way to reach out to the actual donor and say, here's how we're going to use it based on your donation. This is how the community, the library, and the school district are going to be involved in it, and it's supporting STEM and STEAM projects.
Is there a reason why it's only for out of the country? Shipments of
Yes, and that's because the funding and the opportunity and support to get a hand actually out of country is not as available. Here in the United States, typically the insurance companies and things like that have that tied in and can make those opportunities more readily available than they can overseas. So we're dealing with children that literally right now have a stump, and to finish off a hand, it's very helpful to them to feel completed.
Sure.
And so through the work of Enable and through the connection with the students, they made this connection. And
Do you know what countries?
I am aware of, yes, I did, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's a number of them, actually.
Okay.
Korea is one of them, yes. But we can find you more information. What's gonna happen, you're getting the intro of it right now as board members, but for the library's end, we're going to hold a press conference.
Good.
And we're going to actually unveil this towards the end of September, early October, so that the students can talk about the project and share how this got started, but then also invite if there's some potential investors that want to give to the project, or if there's community members that are interested in actually being part of the assembly day and helping make a hand, they can do that as well.
That's great.
So more information on that. This has been, the last month and a half on this has been very exciting. Our two pilot schools are Woods and Parkview, and I thank the principals there. But this has been an overwhelming partnership for the schools and the library and hopefully our community too. Moving along to page 52, I always love to give you highlights on our Raising a Reader. And as you can see, because of summer reading, 455 children have registered for 1,000 books before kindergarten. To add to that, I had a wonderful meeting with Superintendent Ken Gutman with Walled Lake Schools just a few weeks ago, and he's actually coming for a tour this week and connecting me more with the two schools, Hickory Woods and Meadowbrook, that we have Novi residents in, and we're going to start talking about partnerships and how we might be able to do more with the Walled Lake schools.
Terrific.
So we've shared
Congratulations.
our 1,000 books, and we have a connection with their director of preschool, and we're now making some inroads with our Walled Lake schools, and it's very exciting. He was very excited to hear also some of the things we've done with Novi and what we might be able to bring to them. And then there's the Support Services Department, lots of checkouts of cards and items checked out, 72,000 items in the month of July, which is amazing. So it's a busy month, as you can see. This is just our first month of statistics, but I wanted to give you some just so you can see where we're starting at this point. And those are all followed through to pages, all the way through to page 63. The Historical Commission did provide their minutes from their June meeting, as you can see. And they have an event coming up on September 9th, which is at the cemetery. If you are able to attend, please do so to support them. And then we have our friends. They also provided their minutes from their June meeting, and then their agenda that they had for their August 9th. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, but they have moved around some of their meeting times and They're going to hold some meetings from 4 to 6 and some in the evening from 7 to 9. So there's going to be some changes in that coming up.
The cemetery that they're doing their activity in really is interesting. I've been in it and walked through, and you look and you see families and dates and stuff. And if you've got time to go through it, I think you'll find it interesting.
And there's also some military from Civil War, I believe,
Yeah.
that are buried there. So yes, they're working very closely with Parks and Recreation to keep it up and make it a valued place in the community.
Kathy Crawford did a tour of the cemetery for our in-house television at Fox Run, and it was very, very well received and quite exciting. I mean, it sits right here, and she has such a wealth of the history and background. It was very excellent. It was excellently done.
So that's on September 9th at 10 a.m. if you're interested in attending.
Looking at the Friends of the Novi Library, it just seems to me, since I'm, the 80-year-old on this board, that many senior citizens look for ways to be involved in community activities that don't require a lot of energy. And they have time and a commitment. I have not heard of any approaches, say, not just Fox Run, but other senior communities, of kind of an outreach for membership in Friends of the Library. And I just think that is a really great potential that would meet both needs, to be involved and to realize a limited energy that would be available.
I'll make sure that they're aware.
Should be part of the welcome packet, right? When somebody moves in, or even if they come to an activity.
There you go.
Or at the senior center and everywhere.
Yeah. there you
I know
go.
that they have their information out, and I thought we gave Fox Run.
Yeah, it has not made an impact.
It did, okay.
I
So
mean,
we're looking for them
We get
to.
stuff in our cubbies
Right.
stuffed all the
All the
time,
time.
and so
Okay.
it's that, this appeal.
I will also make sure we're hosting Fox Run in September on the 15th. I hope you all received your information about it. I think you all did.
Within 3 days of it being put out in our cubbies, we had 120-some people sign up for it.
Yeah.
So I guess that just told me again that seniors respect and love libraries.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what can we do to not just have them be the recipients of our service, but to have them serve back in return? And I think it's a challenge that would be well received by the senior community.
What I can find out is, because of that event on the 15th, perhaps there's some people from the Friends that can be there that can actually
Just kind
talk
of
about.
like chit-chat, and,
Sure.
like, it's kind of like who you know of the 100 who are going to be here. And if they see me, I'll kind of like check out and say, talk to so-and-so and so-and-so.
Correct, yes.
So I'm curious, is it possible to have like a basic info sheet? Want to get more involved with Novi Library and literally have positions? I'm calling it that because I don't know what else to call it right now.
Right.
But then you can have the description of what it entails, because that's the next thing people usually want to know. I want to get involved, but I only have so much time, or I only can lift this much or do this much. So if there's a description of, I don't know, a welcome desk person.
Right.
What do they do, what hours you usually need, and that type of thing. I think if that's there, and very friendly, handed out with everything else that's handed out, that might be a nice way to engage organically, people that are already invited in.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for putting up with my always remember the seniors.
No, I appreciate it.
Include as one of our mottos.
We wouldn't be having Fox Run's event had it not been for you, and now look at how successful it hasn't even happened yet. And look
I know.
if I'm getting calls for, can you squeeze me in? I take that as a compliment.
Well, they also are serving a special buffet meal.
Yes, they are.
So that people can take the bus and not miss their main meal of the day. So,
Right, yeah. It was a wonderfully coordinated event, both with Fox Run and the library, to make it happen. And such positive people over at Fox Run to work with, too, also to have put this together. So we're excited. So we'll have some music. We will have wine and desserts from Stephen Rockies. And I think it'll be a lovely evening. The whole idea is a taste of art, so we really are wanting to just introduce them to the different art that's in the building. So we're gonna ask them to walk around if they feel up to it. If not, and they wanna just sit and enjoy the music that's there, that's fine too. But if they really wanna walk around, we're going to give them places to be, to learn about the art that's in the library, and then a few did you knows, so.
If they get on the bus, they can walk around.
Yes.
Don't baby us too much.
Don't baby you too much. And that's all I have for my report.
Well, you had a lot of
Thank
good
you.
stuff, thank you.
Where we are on the November meeting in Foxton?
We will be there in November.
November?
Yes, that was the date that we had decided on.
But you were talking whether we will have dinner there, not dinner there, what time, or all those. It is,
We haven't coordinated all of that.
Okay. We can get together.
We can, because
Yep.
it's November 16th.
Absolutely.
So we need to move
Okay.
on that.
I'll put a note in for us to
Yeah,
connect.
we will have just had our big board meeting a couple of weeks before, so it'll be good.
Good, thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Looking at committee reports, I think there's just two committees that have anything going on at the moment. The Events, Marketing, and Fundraising Committee.
Yeah, I got an email from Sue, actually, from the Friends, who asked about the gala. She said that she might need some things
Okay.
for the upcoming gala. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Friends Gala that we have every year.
I know the Friends Gala, but we're not involved in the planning.
I know.
This is really going on through the Friends.
So she called me.
Okay.
So I'll throw that out there. I told her I didn't have any time to get involved, but
Oh,
I
gotcha. Okay.
I just figured I'd mention it since that is an events marketing type of thing.
Okay.
But you can definitely share more feedback on that. That's good to know. If
Yeah.
it's good that I said no, it sounds like.
Oh, no, I don't, I'm not, I mean, I guess I'm not understanding. Did they want you to get involved? Is that what
She did.
Oh, okay.
She wanted to know if we could get things like fundraising.
Oh, okay.
Sue.
That's up to you.
Oh, no, I already
Oh,
answered
okay,
her.
okay.
I guess I didn't realize that it wasn't something that could be brought to the board. Like, it's not something necessarily, it sounds like, how do I put this?
I'm not sure I'm
Well, it sounds
understanding
like
you.
they're
So
reaching out because we all may have connections to see if there's things we
Yeah,
could bring
yeah.
for owners
So in the past.
If we may know owners
the
of
past are-
restaurants
Okay.
or things like
Okay,
that.
yeah, see, and I
to
wasn't
help
aware that
out.
they were reaching out to you, so I.
Yeah, it's okay. In the past, as you recall, like a couple years ago, our small marketing events fundraising
Right.
committee did get more involved.
Yes.
And we did get a lot of stuff for them. Last year, we didn't do anything, and that
Right.
is still went well. So this year, I did get the note.
Okay.
I couldn't do anything, but I figured I would bring it up in
Okay.
case anybody else wanted to get involved. But I don't want to overstep, so I guess what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
I'm a little, like, they asked for my help. I couldn't do it, but I figured I'd bring it up. I don't
Sure.
know if that's okay.
I'll let them know that you can't.
Yes,
Okay.
I told her I couldn't, but, sorry. So that was something that she said, she contacted me because of the events marketing piece. And
Okay.
because, like, a year before I got so much.
Okay.
And obviously, the new kickoff just happened for the library card campaign,
Yes.
which is extremely exciting.
Yes, it is.
So that's events marketing.
Yes.
Other than that, I think we're pretty good right now. for
Did
a while.
everybody get their shirts?
Oh, our
That would
shirts.
be, yep, the other
Would you like
thing.
me to get it on camera?
Sure,
I was gonna wear
absolutely.
mine too, but
I've seen them worn, they look nice.
They originally gave me a man shirt, so so this is my shirt with the waist, because I work really hard for my waist. So this is the shirt. It's beautiful.
They are,
So,
they look great.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
so-
Very good.
I would like to thank Marcia because it was to go when I was doing my knee surgery.
Sure.
So she really kind of like stepped
Awesome.
up and
I'll
picked
make
it
sure
up for
she
me.
knows,
Thank you.
absolutely.
She worked very hard.
Yes, she did. I got black
It's
too.
it's nice to be able to be represented in that way when we come into the library. And is that something that we can also wear at board meetings too? Or?
Sure, I
Okay.
think they're worth wearing anytime that you're
Okay.
going to be in the public eye. I do. There's lots of events coming up that if you want to wear the library's name on it, that would be great.
Do it. Okay. So that's it for marketing. HR, I think that.
Yeah, we're.
Oh, well, I'll let Ramesh talk about HR.
we don't have any progress on that.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
We're still waiting
We
for
need
Yeah.
to meet. I'm ready.
The other committee was something going on is the Building Landscaping Committee. You heard the comments earlier about the LED project. As you'll see in the second bullet point there, we did receive a letter from the company that was doing some lawn work for us. There's some money that we withheld due to poor performance, basically, and that is in the process of being worked on.
Yes, and I sent a bunch of information to our attorney, and I'm waiting to hear back.
Yeah. So, we have reached the second public comment opportunity. Again, in order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session, therefore, board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Once again, seeing no one coming forward, we will move on to matters for board action, which has to do with the 2018 calendar, which you'll see on page 40.
Yes.
Julie, would you like to talk us through that?
Absolutely. So it is that time of year where we look at the 2018 calendar and decide days that are open and closed. Now, what we do is we have set days that are open and closed. I should make that clear. It's if there's additional days that should be closed because of the way they fall, or if we know of something that's going to be happening that's different from our normal closures that we've already recognized. You just approved the new policy manual for the library for the public, and those had closings in it, which this calendar of 2018 reflects. As you can see, there's not a closing on Saturday of Easter Sunday weekend anymore. There is a closure for Friday of Thanksgiving, knowing the numbers that we've seen over the years and the very low traffic. So that 2018 is what I'm bringing to you to propose, because we have to make sure that there's not anything else. And with that said, I do have some dates I need you to be aware of and for us to consider tonight. So in your packet, there was a large, lengthy discussion, one from Celia Morris, who is helping facilitate the new ILS system and our new computer system for all of the libraries in the library network, which is about 40 some libraries that have the actual shared catalog system. Celia's knowledge is that we were going to be closing, she thought, in April. However, since this packet was put together and sent out to you, I have an email from Celia that came on Wednesday, which was yesterday, stating that she had a meeting with Carl, which is the company we are now moving to for the catalog, and the dates of closing have changed. They are not going to be April closings. They are going to utilize the Memorial Weekend, which actually is better for us. They need the libraries to be closed and no activity, because nothing will be available when it comes to the catalog. You won't be able to check out materials. You won't be able to put materials on hold. You won't be able to bring back materials because they can't be taken off records. I mean, so her recommendation is to be closed the Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of Memorial Day. Now, we are open on Saturday, so I'm looking for the board to close on Saturday, the 26th of May, and have that be a non-paid, not paid closure. That's only adding one additional closure to our 2018 calendar this year. The other thing to look at is Friday, August 17th, which says is the staff in service. I'd like to change it this year to the 24th. The only reason for changing it is to give us a little more time from summer reading being done. And also, it tends to fall on the same week that the same staff have had to work in the past and then turn around and work on the weekend. So I'd like to give that group a break this year and just do the 24th. There's going to be no difference. I mean, it's still an August date, and it's a Friday that we don't have kids, from the schools yet. So there's only one day I'm looking for in terms of a closure, which would be May 26th for that whole weekend, for us to go ahead and do the change over to the new system, which all of our libraries in the library network will do. The recommendation from her is for all the libraries to be closed that weekend so that it can be done. They literally have to do a shut off from the old system and a turn on to the new system and get all of the data turned over to the new system, and then us up and running on that Tuesday.
So you guys, even if you were open, you would be dead in the water. There's nothing we could do.
Yeah, honest to God, it would be, if you want my honest opinion, it'd be horrible service to give, because you'd be telling them no, that they can't check out, they can't put holds on, they can't return their materials. I mean,
It'd be much more frustrating.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't see any benefit to being open, and it's only one day.
I have a question though.
Sure.
I know we had to get certain dates into the city for publications. How is that gonna affect the 17th?
The city's deadline for the calendar publication is September 15th. That's why you have it here in front of you.
That's my only concern is, okay,
Yep,
perfect.
that's why you have it in front of you today.
Okay, great.
Yep, just got their notice that they need it.
So what you're requesting here in writing is not what you're requesting now?
It's correct. It's now the May dates as of yesterday.
How you are sure that she will do it on 26, 27, 28?
Because from her email that she sent to me, she's had the final meeting that will determine that date, and she didn't totally have that yet when I was putting the packet together. Her and I, if you can see from the emails I shared with you, her and I were back and forth for her to give me a solid date, which she had to give also to the whole consortium, and she shared with everyone that based on Carl's recommendation and what we need in terms of the files to be turned over, May is going to be a better time frame for them.
It means all those libraries will be closed for these 3 days?
That's her recommendation, is that for all of us to close Saturday, Sunday, Monday of Memorial Weekend. We're already closed Sunday, Monday.
But you are just telling us that she wants it, but it's not definite yet.
No, it is based on the meeting that she had this week with Carl. That is her now recommendation. She thought it was,
With all the libraries?
yep.
How are you going to, it's really hard, I think, for the public to understand that you're closing this because you have a new systems, when a lot of people work with businesses where they have computer systems kind of ongoing while they don't close. And so I think the rationale needs to be provided along with it. You're just not trying to give your people a 3-day Memorial Day weekend.
Absolutely.
And so I think that it's wonderful that it kind of comes there together with it, but it also could be a public relations problem if we don't explain it well.
And we will.
On that note, one of the thoughts that I had, first of all, my thought is that it makes sense to go ahead and do it.
Right.
So I'll throw that out there, but I did think, what if in the following year, if people got used to that or thought, well, why didn't you close this year, et cetera. So
This is a
basically-
one-time.
I know. So basically agreeing with Doreen,
Yes.
I think that it is smart to just be clear, this date
exactly.
is for scheduled maintenance, not a part of the holiday.
Correct.
Somehow just making sure that
Yeah.
that's not only clear to the staff, but also
One
to
time
the.
only. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
Because it could be like, well, last year we got 3 days off, but
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
Right.
good communication.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's why I also wanted to make sure that you understood, if you see it, it says, it will say Saturday, May 26th, not paid. So the
I saw
staff
that,
understands
yes.
that as well. This document here that you have on page 40 is something that's shared with the staff, because it says paid and not paid. To the general public, it's just the dates.
Right.
We will do plenty of communication, as we know, when we start getting the PR materials to tell our community that we're going to a new catalog and what those new features are and things
Right.
like that will come with it, that'll be some of the promotion of, and due to that, we'll be closed in order for us to do our data changeover in order to be ready for, that Tuesday.
How many libraries?
There's over 40 that are part of the shared system,
And so she's recommending all 40 libraries.
that are part of
So-
the shared system.
Have the other 39 already agreed to close?
When she did her,
Or are they going through this process
They're going
right
through
now?
the process now, and she knows that her email to me, actually,
The reason I ask this, I mean,
she knew that most, hold on one second, because, she said, none of the shared system libraries are scheduled to be open on Sunday or Monday, so she knows that as a fact. So it really is, and she said only about half plan to be open on Saturday. So this should minimize the inconvenience to the libraries and their patrons. So she had already done that work ahead of
I
time.
think
to know that.
that the thing is here, I mean, we probably have to, going back to what Ramesh was saying, we could make this decision right now, but there could be some libraries that hold out, and then that puts a wrench in the system, right? I mean, that
honestly-
could potentially happen, right?
I honestly don't see any libraries doing that, to be quite honest. And when
But-
they're seeing it as one day,
Yeah.
the April dates, I'll be honest with you, were worse because they
I
were
mean,
asking for
I'm fine
Friday,
with,
Saturday.
I'm fine with this, I mean, I'm not going against it, but what
Right.
happens if, I'm just thinking of the contingency plan,
Right.
the outlier. If a couple libraries, you know, their boards say, no way.
Right.
We want to be open.
They
Does
can
that
be
throw-
open,
does
they're
that
just
throw
not
a-
gonna have service to
Okay.
catalogs. So you literally could be open if you want.
Okay, so no matter what, they're gonna do the service, no matter what.
Right,
those
you're
reasons. Okay,
not
that's what I
going to
wanted
have,
clarify.
no, that's a great
Okay.
question. You're not going to have access to any computers, the database, the catalog, our hold system, our
Okay.
self-checks.
I just wanted to make sure
All
that
that
if
is
a couple
compromised, yes.
didn't push the date
Yeah.
out,
No, no, no.
we make the change here, get it approved in the
Right.
calendar, and then,
Yeah.
you know.
So all
That's
the
a great
complaints
question.
they get that day will be handwritten.
Yeah, yeah, which,
Because they will get
we see
complaints.
1,200 people, and people don't just check out one item, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Even mistakes, I mean, it really doesn't really make much
I,
sense.
I don't think you're getting disagreement
No,
here.
I didn't think I would.
So, if I might,
Yes.
what you're
Hold on,
asking
hold on.
is,
Oh, sorry.
Can you clarify this paid, not paid, what does that mean?
These, the ones that are mentioned, those are actual paid holidays that the employees get paid for, and then there are closures that we have where they're not paid that day, but it is closed.
Employees are not paid?
Correct.
Only those who are permanent or not permanent, or everybody is not paid?
I
You
wouldn't.
said not paid, what does that mean to employees?
You don't receive any,
Payment.
correct, for that day.
76 employee people or whosoever numbers are, they will not be paid?
Not on those days. So they have an opportunity to make it up, or if they want to take, vacation or benefit time, they can use it for that, to make up for it, but we also give them the opportunity to make up the hours if they'd like. But those are actual closures that are not paid.
For hourly only, or for,
Well, I know Sunday, I don't get paid for Sunday, I don't work typically. I mean, that's,
right.
yeah, it's,
That's the way it's always been.
it is. If you would,
Sunday you are paid. You are
You're
full-
salaried.
full-time.
I'm salaried.
Yeah,
If I
that's
work
what I
on
said.
Saturday, on Sunday, if I'm working that week, yes, it's part of my work week.
Yeah.
That's why we try to work with the other staff too, though. If they want to make up their hours, they can. They don't necessarily lose, no one loses time. They have an opportunity to make it up. But they're not actually paid for that day.
yeah, this has always caused confusion with
It
the
has.
board, but I think the way I look at it is, if we close for a day and it's unpaid, we're not saving that money.
No, we're not.
In most cases,
Correct.
because we allow them to work other days,
We
other
do.
hours. So it's not like a
Right.
savings to the library.
It's not, yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions on this before I make a comment? Okay, it looks like what you're asking us to do is to approve what's on page 40 with two exceptions. The addition of closing on May 26th and the change from August 17th to August 24th.
You are correct.
Okay. Is there?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been passed unanimously, and I believe we have reached the point for adjournment, if someone would like to make a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Thank you all for a good meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Doreen, this is a very nice publication.
Thank you.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
Give you a little bit, that's our 8th one. There are a
Yes.
couple of us who do.